Hello, everybody, and good morning. This is Jordan with Conquering Trading and Investing, and we're about to get started for our live session here during the New York session. The first thing we're going to do is take a look at the calendar, and we have at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time the CPI and core CPI. We also have later in the day Fed Chairman Powell speaking at 12 p.m. Make sure this is Eastern Time. All right. Let's begin by taking a look at the market. All right. So we're going to start off with gold. And yesterday during our session, we saw that gold was trading right about where it is right now. It had gone ahead and was resuming this downtrend that's taking place over here. It had broken lower than this support over here, and you could see that price is kind of resting on that right now. I did read a headline yesterday that there was an enormous amount of paper gold sold on the market while we were watching this, and we were seeing price kind of sell off on that. Interestingly to note, though, gold, although we've broken out of this channel over here, price is definitely falling off now in a downtrend. I expect we'll come down into this area over here between 1400 and 1430. That's just my own personal opinion, but it is interesting to note that money is not flowing out of gold, out of the gold ETF. Investors are still maintaining those positions as price is coming off. Moving over to the euro US dollar. Now, I'm going to start looking at this at the 8-hour. We've been watching this trade every day. This has provided some very nice profits over the past week and a half. Yesterday, during the live session, I talked about this entry. I'm sorry, this occurred on Monday morning over here. We talked about it, and then in the evening during the ASIN session, this trade triggered. I just took profits off it right here. We have the CPI coming out in about an hour and a half, and I'm sorry, in about 25 minutes. And I just wanted to be out of the trade. I saw on the 1 hour this morning when I woke up, I saw that price had calmed down here and tested the whole number, and then since traded up and then came down and tested again. But on that retest, it didn't make a lower low. You could see that right there, those two bottoms of those pin bars, and then was bounced up to about kind of where it is right now, a little bit higher. It was at 1.1008 that I took profit, and I took profit off of that second trade that I had entered on Monday evening, the smaller piece for a small profit, and I'm holding on to this trade entry from last week still, and I'm still waiting to see how price reacts down here. Good morning, everyone. Morning, Jeff. Morning, Hanero. Glad to see you guys here today. Hope you are well. We're going to move on over now. By the way, there's nothing happening right now except for managing a position on the euro US dollar. There's no way that you would be looking for longs with the trend currently down. You see the trend down here is negative. Obviously, if you just look, pretend you were a 4-year-old and you asked, hey, is price going up or down? It's very clear price is going down. Definitely no longs to look for. And we're near a take profit zone, right? So there's no initiating new short trades. You have the entry CCI down towards the trend. Price near term is oversold towards the downtrend. There's no way to look for an entry. It's the question of if you're in a trade of managing it. Do you want to take a look now at the US dollar, Japanese yen? And now, first things first, I deleted, I tried to put it back. We were watching this play out as a triangle. And I'm going to now say that is not the main thesis that I'm looking at anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this. So I'm going to erase this line with you here today, right? And I'm going to focus in on this rising wedge. and that's the pattern that I'm going to be focused on. I had what I did remove. I had over here a blue buy zone where if this support held out of this triangle to look for a reentry. I was in this trade yesterday. I got stopped out. I got stopped out for a loss of 2 pips. I shared with you yesterday where I was placing my stop loss. Let's see. The entry that I took was over here on this price bar. And then yesterday I moved my stop loss to the low of this price bar. Where is it? This one right here. I put my stop in at 109.04. My stop was taken out. I showed you yesterday during the live session where I was adjusting my stop to. I basically got stopped out at break even, and there's our blue box. I'm removing this blue box now, and I'm removing this triangle. We're going to focus in on this rising wedge, and so that says to me right now that as price gets a little closer to the bottom of this wedge, which will be support, at that point, it's going to be close to the true trend rolling over, possibly, unless if it happens closer to here, if it's closer to here, the true trend will still be positive. If we get an opportunity to take a trade, if this support holds and price starts back up to go up here to test the higher end of this channel, well, that's a great opportunity. Though it would be there's about 100 pips in there between here and here. So if we get the opportunity to go ahead and buy off of this support, we will look to take that trade. Ultimately, what we're looking for, and you can see it clearly here on the daily, we're looking for a breakdown out of this channel. A rising wedge normally would be a bearish pattern, a bearish continuation pattern. You can see the trend is down. If you look over here, right, and now we have this rising wedge. And when that does break, if it breaks down, that's going to provide nice opportunity for a nice short trade with, you're looking at a test of the 105 area. So that could be a nice big trade, something to watch out for the long term. But right now we're trading within the rising wedge. We're looking to see if we could get long on a test of this support of this channel and look to take profits up here. It is, of course, possible that we also do get a breakout to the upside, and we'll know that clearly because we'll break out of this rising wedge the wrong way, to the upside, not the wrong way, not the way that is expected. All right, so let's see what's going on today, this morning, with the US dollar, Canadian dollar. And we see that the dollar is a bit jumpy today. It's mixed. It's gaining against some pairs and not against others. We see here that the US dollar is making nice gains off the Canadian dollar. We had over here yesterday on the daily this what looks like a doji pattern. We more or less opened and closed with long wicks either way at the same level. But now we've gone on to make new higher highs. That's why we were not preemptive in looking for shorts off of this resistance. We just want to wait, and we're getting closer to our zone where we're looking to enter into this trade, right? We're going to start looking, or I'm going to start looking when price is halfway into this channel. We're getting really close. At that point, begin following this pair and stalking it, looking to see if it's possible to get short. Right now, this is still just watching and waiting for things to develop. The longer you're able to show and exercise patience to get into a good trade, the more it's going to pay off for you in the long run. Let's take a look now at the euro, Japanese yen. Look at that. This is not something I wanted to personally take a trade on yesterday. I decided to stand aside, even though we did note that it was possible this would provide a nice opportunity. And it did. It was trading down at the low of this range yesterday when we looked at it during this session, and it has since gone off and is really breaking it down nicely now. I do want to look at that pair closely on the 8-hour and to see what happened. Because it's really important to analyze trades, whether you got in them or not, but see what occurred and what developed. and you're kind of just making future mental notes in order to take advantage of similar occurrences in the future. And so we were looking at this yesterday, I believe on this price bar right here, right? It was one of these two price bars, and price was trading down towards the lower end of last week's range. And it was still, even if it was a little below, it was still close to the bottom of the range. And what I saw is just a bunch of consolidation that's been going on for weeks. So I wasn't really looking to take it, but price is definitely broken down out of it. I also don't see much of an entry that I would have taken because the entry CCI stayed low, which is good. That's showing that momentum to the downside is pretty strong, but I would have waited for the entry CCI to come up higher. So in assessing this trade, I'm looking at it again, and I'm still seeing that there's nothing that I would have taken, right? There's no trade that I would have taken, even though obviously the price is now trending down outside of that channel. But what I do see, or what I'm going to be looking for, is I'm going to be looking for this buy zone, right? Which we're approaching. We're approaching this support line we have over here. And then we have our other support line, the trend line support of the lower band of that channel. And as price comes over in this area over here, we're going to be looking for a resumption upwards, because if price does resume upwards, that channel is pretty big, right? There is, from the bottom of the channel over here, it's called at 1957, and then all the way up here you have 122. You know, that's a nice chunk of pips in there to profit from. So I'm just going to wait this out. I'm going to wait for it to see. Now, Jordan, what about waiting, taking a trade short and looking for a test of this trend line over here? Well, because I have this support line in here, and I have the support line connecting these points, I'm not looking for it to take a short as price is approaching a possible support line. Whether or not this red line holds or not, I don't know. I do expect this one will hold, right? And again, it's clear if this one doesn't hold, then we're going to get short of this once this trend line breaks, because down over here we're going to have a retest of the lows, and that could happen sooner than we think. Things with the yen is highly correlated to risk on, risk off, and the China-US trade talks could fall apart really quickly. If they do, then you expect that you're going to see a continued slowdown in global growth. The yen is going to be appreciating, and we could get a test of these lows really quick. But right now, we're playing price within this channel. I'm just going to wait this out. The daily BTC says it's a buy. Okay, Jeff, just for clarification, you're saying, I believe this is what you're saying, that euro. All right, so all I did is I pulled up the true trend BTC, and so I'm not following you. Could you just rephrase that comment or question a little bit? Because I'm looking here at the euro Japanese yen. I'm looking at that with the true trend BTC, which is using the 333 period, and I see we're in a strong downtrend. US CAD. Let's check that out. All right, is that one? Yep, absolutely. And if you're trading, make a living 1 hour a day strategy, if you're trading that strategy with the US Canadian dollar, there's absolutely a buy signal right there today on this zero line cross at the close of this price bar. The previous move where the true trend was below the zero line, the low is down here. That's where the stop loss is, right there at 1.30405. The risk here on all three orders together is 1.8%. And that is a valid signal, and you have to take that trade. And it's quite possible it will, it'll work out, or you get a zero line cross pretty quickly the other way, and you'll reverse that position. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not trading that pair personally. I'm trading the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, euro, US dollar, Japanese yen, pound, US dollar, and euro, Japanese yen. But on the Canadian dollar, US dollar, Canadian dollar daily time frame, you got a valid signal today, zero line cross. Thanks for pointing that out. All right, let's move on to our friend, the Australian dollar, US dollar. So the first thing I noticed today on this daily price bar, that price traded all the way up here, took out the high, and now has made a complete reversal and is trading at or near the lows. That is absolutely a very bearish pattern for a couple of reasons. Now, I'm assuming the reason that that bar traded up to begin with and bullish was because last night on the New Zealand dollar, the Central Bank of New Zealand did not cut interest rates as expected. I know that as of last night, after that announcement, price was trading up about 1% on the New Zealand dollar. And the Australian dollar was probably, trading correlated to that. But now it's taking out a lot of bulls here, right? If anyone got bullish up here, they're stuck. This whole pin bar, this wick up here, this is a bunch of bullish traders stuck on the wrong side of the market, which is now being controlled the other way by the bears. Let's dip down to the 8-hour and take a look at that, because that's going to provide us a little more of the sniper perspective. What I do like, what happened is, although we didn't get a perfect textbook test of this resistance up here, because we looked for the break, and then we like to look for that test of the breakout, that resistance. It didn't come up and test it perfectly, but then again, my trend line might not be perfect, right? So it's just a guide, but nevertheless, price did come up and it tested up towards that resistance. I would have liked to see it test a little higher, but it tested that resistance. And now price is trading back down, but still, I don't have an entry. I'm still waiting. So what I'm waiting for is this entry CCI to show me that it is overbought against the downtrend. Then I will start looking. I will be watching how price is reacting closer to this resistance again when that happens. And there's the possibility that price could continue breaking down. It could fall below this support right here, which you do have. You can see that is support. So price could fall below that support and then just start bleeding and never giving me a chance for entry. And that's okay. That's quite okay. By taking the few trades that show us really solid setups, we're going to do much better than just trying to take every trade, and that's the difference between an experienced and skilled trader and someone who's just starting out trading, feeling like they just need to be involved in as many trades as possible. So I just want to take a moment, wish you all a good morning, just say thank you for stopping by, being here with us. Really appreciate you. If anyone has any questions at any time, that's what we're here for. Please go ahead and you could either call out a currency pair we want to take a look at. You could send the chart. You could do just let us know if you have any questions. All right, let's move over to the pound US dollar and see what is developing. Now, moving back to our true trend BTC, we do have an open long on here. And we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know whether or not that's going to roll over to the short side or if this is going to continue basing out. Let's take a look and see what we see. We have price trading within this descending triangle. Now, it is coming off this huge up move. Price is consolidating. What it's going to do from here, it's not giving us an edge one way or the other. Right now, it's just trading within that triangle. We're just waiting. If we get a breakdown below the low on Friday, that would be a price down here about 1.2767. I would assume that the bears are going to make a nice move. I will be getting short on a lower low. There will be another breakdown out of this pattern, this triangle pattern, and taking out last Friday's low. Alternatively, if we get a breakout to the upside, we will look to play that. We will first get a test of this high up here. And then if we break out, there's a lot of room to the upside. So right now we're just watching what develops on the pound US dollar. We're still within this pattern and we're still waiting for price to make its move to show us what to do. So no opportunities yet that I see for a possibility for us to enter into a trade. Let's going to see what happens. We should have an announcement in 8 minutes on the CPI. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sleeping on that. That was, my time is off. I apologize. I thought I looked at it this morning. I apologize. I have Eastern time. Well, that's good to know that was a non-event, obviously. And not only that, that we do have hasn't really moved the market one way or another at all. All right. Well, I apologize for that. That was my fault. I looked at that earlier and I thought that I did have that correct. Well, how you doing? Good morning. Let's see, what is the probability of a trend continuation once the CCI has crossed already the 0 line and then you wait for the pullback to take the, yeah. Now, let's see, we could look at this both on the daily and on the 8-hour. I'm going to look at this on the 8-hour with you. And actually, we did look at this briefly yesterday. So I'm going to use this example right here. And so whether right here was the last time that the Australian dollar, US dollar, before this trend change right here, crossed the 0 line. And you have 2 opportunities for an entry, right? You could take that entry on that 0 line cross, right? And if you were to take that entry would have been right here at a price of 0.678, okay? So let's say you took that 0 line cross. In this case, momentum continued and price continued, and that was a fantastic entry, right? There's no way you could have managed that trade poorly. You would have got out in a nice profit. Now, what I tend to do, because as you cross the 0 line, often price is oversold near term towards the trend, and you get a pullback, right? So what I tend to do is wait for this first pullback of the entry CCI, which would occur over here and enter here. This also would have been a profitable trade. Right away, it went into profit. It stayed into profit. It never made a lower low. It was a nice, easy trade. Of course, there's much less profit potential here than there was off of this entry. But then you have these other occurrences. And if you were to talk, for example, this 0 line cross right here, right away, the trade went against you, right? Or if you would have took the next one, which occurred down here, again, right away, the trade went against you. And that's why I tend not to take 0 line crosses, trading on the true trend with the 370 settings that we use for day trading currencies, or swing trading short-term setups on currencies. And I tend to wait for the safer entry, which is the first pullback of the entry CCI. That's what I like to take. I like to wait for the pullback of the trend and then for it to resume. And I just find it to be a safer, more high probability setup. If you were just taking all 0 line crosses, here you have one that works out beautiful again, right? Here's the 0 line cross. That trade just soars into profit. My entry would have been down here, right? But again, look how my entry would have got me into profit clearly, safely, and easy. So it's just 2 ways of looking at it. I can only tell you what I do and what I like to do. I'm not saying one way is necessarily better than the other, because over here you would see, if you would have took the 0 line cross, well, that's a beautiful trade. You don't have the first opportunity to get in on a pullback to all the way down here. But as you can see, and this is all I care about, that's a perfect, beautiful trade as well, that first pullback, right? So it's a question of not needing to take every trade, but only looking for the good ones, right? And that's what I'm doing. I'm really picky about the trades I'm looking for, and I'm looking for the good ones. What to use for confirmation. So the only other thing, and again, we're going to look here back at the euro Japanese yen, and the reason why I wouldn't take this trade is because I have a support right here, right? The entry CCI only barely came above the zero line right here, but that's definitely entry criteria. It's showing me that price is no longer oversold in the downtrend. And you have the possibility of taking a short over here in this area to get into that trade. I wouldn't take it because we're coming near support, right? I have this support line over here, and whether or not it's going to hold, or most likely it doesn't, and you have a nice profit potential. But because there is some type of support over here that trade is near, I'd rather not take it. I'd rather just wait and step aside and just wait for a clearer entry and a clearer trade. Awesome. Appreciate that. And fantastic questions. That's why I love questions, is because from all of you, because we all offer different perspectives. And when you are able to go ahead and dig into something like that, it's helpful for me and it's helpful for all of you. So awesome. So we're on the sidelines here. I know a lot of traders are interested in the pound, but really you have about 3 weeks here of not too much happening. But let's check out this looks like it's getting ready to break down, right? But it's still within that consolidation period. Looking here at the pound Japanese yen, and we are seeing a lot of yen strength. You could see that from all the pairs we're looking at. Generally speaking, when we're seeing yen strength, and that yen strength is highly tied to what's going on with the US-China trade deals, the pairs that you're going to see the best opportunities for shorting is the New Zealand dollar Japanese yen and the Australian dollar Japanese yen. All right. And obviously we're going to look at those in a little bit, or I could just skip to them really quick. And you can see here that's reflecting here this morning in the Australian dollar Japanese yen. So this is going to be providing, there's that breakdown we were looking at, that little channel over there. We are now going to be looking for shorts. So the first thing we want to do is go down to the 8-hour, see what's going on. We can see that we're getting a trend change right here. And yeah, there's a lot of momentum there today. Is that a zero line cross that someone wants to take? Could be, right? Could be. You have the previous price bar, which was the zero line cross, and now you have price making a lower low than that price bar. That is a good entry. Where you have anything below us, right? I don't really see much going on to about down here at 72.46. So that's 180 pips. Something smaller over here at 73.08. You have So you have the resistance over here. You had support, broken, became resistance. Resistance again, broken, became support. So 73.10 is the first area you'll watch for take a profit. And then you have down lower over here, a little bit higher. Why am I drawing it there? Again, you had the support, broken, became resistance, resistance, broken, became support. So there you go. That's our two areas. That's our first take profit. That's our second take profit. Am I getting in right here on this zero line cross? I'm tempted, right? All the news is out of the way. We do have Powell speaking later today. I don't know if it's 12 o'clock Eastern time. Am I going to wait for the first pullback? Yeah, I'm going to wait. But if someone said that they wanted to get in that zero line cross, I see it very clearly. Franco, price action and levels, the manipulation of the market is the best strategy ever. Yeah, the strategy that I'm showing here with you works out really well. I don't know as far as what manipulation is in the market. I know that you want to be trading with a straight through processing broker who's not trading against you. then you don't have to worry about your broker taking out your stops. But as far as, any one person, or especially any retail broker, being able to manipulate the market, that's not my experience from 19 years of trading, that's even possible. I don't see that at all. If you're looking for the whether or not you want to call this the best strategy, well, regardless of using words and subject, is this strategy absolutely is gonna make you money, and it is all you need to turn the quarter to profitability. You've seen us calling them live out now since we started the live streams, and if you're following these trades, you're in profit. Not only that, it's teaching you how to look at the market yourself, how to be able to make these decisions on your own, and be able to learn this skill set to learn how to consistently make money out of the markets. So whether or not you want to call that the best strategy, I would call it a highly profitable strategy. So this is definitely the hot pair of the day. This is where we're seeing the greatest opportunity. We're seeing down here this nice breakdown. You can see just price rolling over up there. And since we broke this trend line that we had just scribbled in there, price is now falling down out. We have a zero line cross. We're looking for shorts. I'm going to wait for this entry CCI to eventually be pulled up. That doesn't look like obviously it's going to happen until either sometime late this evening or tomorrow, but that's when I'll be looking to get into this trade and to see if we get any further continuation. There's a lot of, the risk is defined and short. You have the first take profit is about a 1 to 2 risk reward, and then a 1 to 4 risk reward down here for this take profit. That's a fantastic trade. And I hope one that I'm in soon enough, but I'm going to wait, and I'm going to wait for, my setup, hopefully to see it occur. And when it occurs is when I'll take advantage of it. I'm just not going to jump into the trade because it's looking good right now. I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm going to wait on it. Also want to take a look at the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, and you could see, well, this is what we see. Yesterday, we discussed here when the New Zealand dollar was very weak, and we knew that was because the New Zealand Central Bank was meeting later in the day, and we knew that there was an expected quarter point, 25 basis point rate cut coming in. We talked about how this could be a sell the news, or in this case, buy the news type event. If they said that they were going to signal that they weren't going to be cutting rates anymore in the near future. They went ahead and actually didn't cut rates at all. Price then reacted accordingly. But you see these long wicks up here. You see, as we get to the top of this range, this resistance area up here, we are wicking out on every single time an opportunity we've come up here. And again, it's happening again. That's a sign of weakness, right? That's a sign of weakness. Now, the pair is definitely strong today. And again, it's because of that news event, but this is showing weakness. But because of that weakness, the play for me is the Australian dollar, right? It's not the New Zealand dollar, which is acting stronger than the two. We always want to go with the pairs offering the greatest strength and weakness together. And although that probably, most likely, there's a good chance that this pair continues to break down from here, and that sooner than later we're testing the lower of this range again, and if not, breaking down. But that's not happening today, and that's not where the opportunity is today. This pair today is in no man's land. It's in this consolidation range, and although it's towards the top of it, the yen is strong today. You don't want to be taking a trade against a pair that is showing strength, and the yen is strong today. So I'm not going to buy against the yen. I'm going to be looking to trade with the yen, and the pair offering the greatest opportunity for that is the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Let's see. So we got two questions here. Let's take them in order. First, from Hanero's asking, why do you not acknowledge the support resistance before the first take profit you have in your charts? I think you're talking about here. Is that correct? The Australian dollar, Japanese yen, and I have. Are you talking about this one up here? There is another. You can see that clearly, right? You see that this over here was support until it broke. It came up here and it was tested as resistance. It then broke through, became support again, and that's entirely valid. The reason I didn't acknowledge it was because I didn't see it. My eyes went towards where you had this greater area of support and resistance because it's a stronger level. This one is valid, and that's really important. Thank you for bringing that up, because to have that on our charts right here as we're looking to enter in this trade is really helpful. It is weaker. You could see that it's not really held, right? But it is valid, and it should have been on the chart. I'm glad you brought it up, that we have it there now. That's a level you want to be watching, especially if you're looking. We talked about on the euro, Japanese yen this morning, how we didn't want to look to be entering, or I didn't want to be looked to entering this trade short as we were near the support line. And there is a support line right here that you want to be aware of, and could even be a little bit higher. And the reason I move it a little bit higher is you could see these candle wicks down below it. Let's see what that looks like on the daily. Yeah, it even goes back as far as there. We're trading close to support right now, right? You can see it back over here too. Yep, that's something you don't want to watch. Thanks for bringing that up. That is helpful for us all. And again, I am waiting, as you know. I'm waiting to get that pullback and then that resumption. And hopefully that's going to coincide with this one being taken out. It's going to make me feel better about getting into that trade. That's why I just missed that. Forex looks risk off. They are buying Japanese yen, US dollar, and the Swiss franc. The Russell 2000 is testing interesting support. It certainly helped the recent bull trend on indices. No, this is all what it's all about. Yeah, absolutely. Now, as you guys know, I do like Forex Live for news. And let's see. I mean, I believe all of this is U.S.-China related, but we're going to find out right now. So China says you worship activities under surveillance. Well, there's been a lot of friction since yesterday evening as far as the U.S. and China. And I think that is what is being priced into the market today, because Trump started off yesterday afternoon and he said that the only way that the tariffs were going to be taking off were if they came to a phase one deal that was sufficient. Otherwise, I'm sorry. He said that he was going to increase the tariffs immediately if they didn't come to a phase one deal. So, then you have China posturing, saying their economy is doing better than the U.S. This was all set up. This was all set off because it was yesterday that President Trump said that if they didn't come to any type of phase one deal, he was going to increase tariffs, right? So that immediately set on risk off type setting, that you see that appreciating most of all in the yen. And then you also see the dollar and the Swiss franc definitely appreciating today. It's very nuanced. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if that's the President Trump looking to kind of put a little bit of leverage into his position, pressuring China to go ahead and make some sort of deal. And whatever deal they're looking to make in phase one doesn't really seem to be much of anything anyway. Or whether China is going to, knowing that the election's coming up shortly in the U.S., will play hardball and are not willing to make a deal. So that's what we're just seeing today. But that it's kind of like a pendulum swinging back and forth. And, these past year and a half, we've gone from like things are looking like we're going to have a deal to like, there's no way we're having a deal. And right now it seems like we've gone, a couple of weeks ago, as positive as we can get towards making a deal or some type of like, not even a deal, but like ceasefire. And now that looks like it's a possibility that might not happen. So although people are not really getting that far long the yen and risk off assets, there is a turning taking place that is the possibility of that happening. And you've seen that happening right here in real time on the break of this trend line. You're seeing that happen here in the euro, Japanese yen, on the breakdown right here of last week's trading range. And both are near that near-term support. You're seeing it happen a little bit here. You're seeing even the yen trade a little bit stronger versus the dollar. And unless we break down out of this wedge, that's when we would be looking to really get short the US dollar against the Japanese yen. But if this is happening, if we get that breakdown, that's because things are the deal's off, right? That's what things are going to coincide. Everything is priced into the charts, and probably technically speaking, the charts will price in fundamental news events before they happen. But in the end, they both match and coincide. Yeah, 100%, Jeff. And wow, that's the comment of the day. I was thinking that looking at this makes me really happy. This makes me really happy, Jeff. And this makes me happy because you're learning from this. I'm learning this system, learning the money management in this system. You're then taking that and you are correlating it into this. You're introducing it into this. And you're asking, I have 2 take profits. This would be my first take profit. This would be my second take profit that I'd be looking at. Would I take 2 positions, right? And if I took 2 positions, would they be the same size? Would they be different size? I would not take 2 positions. Jeff, I was when I was first looking at this and I saw those 2 take profit levels, that was what was going in my mind as well. Would I be looking for 2 different trades to take profits at 2 different levels? The way that I will trade this will be very similar to how I traded it here on the euro US dollar, where I took 1 position up here. This was the big position. It's the first position. And then I'm holding this right here still, seeing what's happening. My second position wasn't down to over here. It was a smaller position, and I took profit sooner. And that's similar to what would happen the way that this is not the only way to trade it or to play it. But what I'll be looking to do is I'll take, and it'll be a larger position on the first pullback here. If I do get opportunities to get in when the entry CCI, does get pulled back against this downtrend, if it's resuming and price takes me into the trade, that will be my bigger position. And I will be looking to hold on to that position. I'll look to see how price reacts around this level. Mentally, I'll be looking hopefully to get, the max profit out of it, and I'll be looking to hold it. But it depends on how price reacts around this support level, whether or not I'll take profit on it. If I get a second entry, it'll be smaller, and I'll be looking to take profit on that over here regardless. And then if price were to break through, I have my bigger position on, my position with more room to give me a little bit more leeway to trade and hold through that volatility and see what happens. That's how I'm going to be approaching it. Absolutely. I really wish. Would you take 2 positions, and what percentage risk if you, right? So, and Jeff, I'm not sure in this moment. I'm gonna wait to see what happens as this trade develops over the next day or 2. And then as it's happening in real time, I'll look at it and discuss it with you. I'm not sure at the moment what size percentage my first trade will be. It's going to depend on what happens over here if we do blow through this first one over here. It's going to depend on a lot of things. As things unfold in real time, I'll share with you my thoughts and exactly what size positions I'm not entering. I'm not taking a position. I'm not setting orders right now. So I'm just going to kind of see how things develop over the next 24 hours and then take a look at it. There's not going to be a trade to take today or in the next 12 hours at least. Absolutely. I'm happy to share with you what's going. This is, first of all, really beneficial to me. You could see by talking it through to you, it definitely helps me lay out my trading plan. It helps me articulate it very well. It helps me plan and prepare, and it's going to only improve my performance. At the same time, by sharing with you, it's really important to give back, and it's really important as a trader to build and have community, because trading by yourself is lonely. It's a two-way street. It helps me be accountable to you, and it helps you having someone to be accountable for. It's really just a net positive thing to go ahead and share with each other. And then you have the teamwork going on. As really Hanera pointed out, the support level over here that I had missed. It's just really net positive. So we did want to skip back maybe to let's go back to when we skip down to the Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen pairs, and just see what's going on. I'm seeing or noticing that we're just trading towards the bottom of our consolidation range that's been going on for 3 weeks now on the pound Japanese yen. Until we get below this trend line on this pair, I will not be looking for any short trades. Just, since we did break this long trend line over here, looking on the daily, and price is holding this enormous up move over here, even if we break down out of this range right here, I will be looking actually to buy off a test of this holds. And I will not be looking to get short until a break. We're trading below this line over here. So that's my plan for the pound Japanese yen. As you can see, it will be some time before we have the possibility of trading down here, another day or two at the earliest, kind of appears, outside of some type of, news announcement out of the UK, something politically related, but it looks like we have some time. I'm not taking any trade. I will a positive reaction off of the support. I will look to get long somewhere, but unless this breaks, I will not be looking for a short opportunity on that pair. We have other pairs, such as the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, offering us a much better opportunity for shorting, right? You could see that this is breaking down, or appears to be possibly breaking down right now. It's definitely broken down out of that trend line. And although it's trading right now at support, we're waiting to see what develops. I'm waiting for this trend change, which is taking place. And then I'm waiting for my entry to get into that trade. So that provides a much better opportunity. Have a great day, Jeff. Thanks for stopping in. Really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. I want to check in now on the euro pound. And this is interesting. If you followed us or the live stream yesterday or over the weekend on the weekly Forex forecast, we did talk about how we were waiting to see how price reacted over here on a test of this trend line, whether or not this held as support. And it appears it possibly is. We're still going to give this some time. What I'm making a mental note of right now for when we look at this tomorrow is I'm seeing price bouncing off of this support and it's resuming upwards. If we start making some higher highs here, I will come down and wait for a trend change on the true trend on the 8-hour time frame. Here she is, the euro pound. We're going to get the trend change, and then I'll be looking to go long. I might even wait for real confirmation to get above this resistance line I have over here at 0.8 at 0.87. I don't know. We'll wait until we get a trend change to the upside, and then I would look for it. The reason I'm looking for this pair is if we do get above this level over here, we do have some nice potential. A really nice trade could develop. So that's a long-term trade. We're watching that one, just waiting to see if things develop as we would like to see them. We're just seeing, I'm seeing weakness in the Australian dollar. I assume it's the weakest pair today out of all. You see the weakness against the euro. You see the weakness against the yen. And let's jump back to the Australian dollar, US dollar. I assume we're seeing weakness there as well. And this is also a pair that I want to focus in on. This might be providing a possible setup on the. Okay, and similarly, we did talk about this earlier today, where we had this test last night against this resistance. It held. That's a good sign to look for longs. But again, I'm also just waiting here. I'm waiting to get my first opportunity to get in, which would be the entry CCI, pulling it back against the trend. And that will provide a possible entry. Obviously, to me or to you, the Australian dollar, Japanese yen looks to be like a little bit better of an opportunity, but this is a valid trade. And I don't know tomorrow. These entries both should occur tomorrow, sometime during the New York session, possibly. And if they do, if we find ourselves getting into them, as of right now, I'd be looking to take both of them. And the reason, because you don't know what's going to continue afterwards. We don't know if the yen is going to continue to outperform the US dollar through the rest of the week or not. This is where our focus is. It's on both the Australian dollar, US dollar, and the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Aside from that, I currently have an open position on the euro US dollar. I'm going to be watching that. I took profit on a small position today. And I have my trade open from over here. My entry was taken in the live stream up there. I have this position open and managing it. I will, if we bouncing off this area right here, I'm going to just take my profit. And it's a nice, beautiful trade. At the same time, I'm just going to wait and see what happens, because there's the possibility that we make it through this area of resistance. And if that happens, this becomes a beautiful trade, right? So I have a little bit of room to work with. I could move my stop down to right above this last swing high. If I get stopped out here, I still had a 2-to-1 risk reward on that trade. It's a fantastic trade, and it gives me room here. Still gives me a lot of room. It gives me about 40 pips or so to play with to see whether or not what happens around this take profit area, this area of support. Does anyone, do you think the impeachment hearing today, wasn't even aware of the impeachment hearing? I don't think it's going to affect anything whatsoever. I think this is, that everyone realizes that these hearings are just theater and a farce. And we have a secret whistleblower who is not even a first person witness. It's being done in secret, not in the open. I don't think anything is going to come of it. I don't think the markets are even paying attention to worry about it. I could be wrong. But my sense right now is that it's not going to have an effect on the market. Now, things could change and develop because of that impeachment hearing, and things could, wind up getting serious. And then at that point, yeah, we would definitely see a huge market reaction. And the reason would being, if for example, it looked like, an Elizabeth Warren was going to win the election, if President Trump was impeached and, Vice President Mike Pence took office, and then it looked like that Elizabeth Warren, for example, was going to go ahead and get the Democratic nominee and would win the election, that would be definitely very bearish to the US dollar, I'm sure, as the programs she's proposing would definitely, entail a lot of government spending, and I'm sure weaken the dollar. As of right now, I think it's too soon. That's my opinion. That's my thoughts. If let's say, hey guys, I'm reading your comments right now. I do appreciate those who have gone ahead and hit that like button. I see that a couple of you have, and that is really, I'm grateful, thankful, and the reason being is because that helps the YouTube algorithm know that it should share this video with other people that could join our community and help. So I appreciate that, and I do thank you. If we've gone through all the pairs that we want to go through, we have our trading plan. We are waiting and watching the Australian dollar, US dollar, Australian dollar, Japanese yen. I saw gold was making some gains today and appreciating, right? And this could be, if again, this is also kind of tied to the global global current events, US dollar, US China trade deal. But I do see that price is kind of inching its way back to above this support line, right? It broke down and now it's getting up in there, right? We have, if we do wind up getting, they have the opportunity to get long this pair, it's going to play out for us. We'll see the true trend get it back above the zero line, trading positive. If that happens above this support line right here, this line of resistance now, this support that was broken, when we come back up here and test, if we get above here and then we get a signal to get long, we'll have some opportunity, some nice distance. We have about, it looks like it'll be about $25 move here to this next line of resistance. So that's a trade for us to watch and see how it develops. I'm just kind of like visualizing what is the possibility of happening. The other thing here is definitely also, we do have this resistance above head. We have the entry CCI pulled above it, and this is offering the opportunity to look for a short. I want to see what this looks like on the daily time frame. You can see that playing out even better on the daily, and I want to see the 12-hour as well. So this does look nice. This is something that I want to add to the list, something along with the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, the Australian dollar, US dollar, and that is definitely gold. You could see that we're in this downtrend. We now have the entry CCI pull back. If we do get a resumption, we're just now right above this minor support. If we do get even a test up here, if the price is able to come against this resistance here, that's going to look for a better entry. But this is something that could provide an entry. I don't see it right here. I think I might move back down to the daily. I see here on the daily, we're getting our first pullback. I would look to trade this one off the daily with a small size position, and small size because gold tends to be pretty volatile. But I'm gonna be stalking this one on the daily. If we make a lower low on the daily right now, why we have this trade criteria, I'm going to enter this trade. I'm going to enter this trade because I see a lot of profit potential. I see the 1400 and 1430 as the take profit zone. So if I make a lower low tomorrow here around an entry of around 1455, there's some nice profit potential in there. I like that setup. If anyone has something they would like to look at before we wind up for the day, please let us know. I'd be happy to take a look. If anyone has any questions in general, now is an awesome time before we wrap up for the day. But we have our plan in place. Take a quick look here at Bitcoin. I believe that Bitcoin is still holding support. And you can see that we have this support line right here, and Bitcoin is just resting on it right now. That's all that's happening with that. Take a look one more time and see. I'm just reading some headlines. Yep, US dollar runs into a cluster of support. That's the support we've been watching. Down over here, we're seeing signs of stress, risk off. And mainly that's China US related. I mean, the global economy is slowing. It's been slowing down. It is to a certain extent tied to the friction going on between the US and China, but it was happening regardless. And whether or not we're going to see this risk off really turn out to be something where we're going to see, for example, some test of the lows down here or not, I don't know. It's possible. I'm sure the New Zealand dollar will reach the lows before the Australian dollar, but right now the edge is on the Australian dollar. We're looking for near-term trades that are offering the greatest advantage. If this does happen, if we get a breakdown outside this rising wedge, it's going to offer us some fantastic opportunity, but we don't know that's going to happen. We're each day we're going to review our plan. We're going to trade things as they're happening. We're going to find out what is offering the best opportunities for this day, and then kind of go ahead and take those trades. For me today, that was taking a small profit on the Euro US dollar. It's moving my stop loss here on this one. I was stopped off for a loss of 2 pips yesterday on the trade I took on the US dollar, Japanese yen. And now I'm looking at gold to get short. I'm looking at the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, and the Aussie dollar, US dollar as possible new trades to take sometime within the next day or so. We'll see how they develop. But right now, they're just on the top of my watch list. There's nothing happening. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. I noticed last night. Now, Kent, this is what I'm seeing on the pair. And what I'm seeing here is that yesterday when we talked about this pair, it was trading. It was the weakest pair against all other pairs, and we noted that was because the market expected a 25 basis rate cut by the New Zealand Central Bank that evening, and we also noted that it's possible we see actually a reversal and we see the New Zealand dollar appreciate the next day if the central bank signaled that after that rate cut they were going to be on hold for a while. But what they wound up doing is not even cutting it all and saying they didn't need it right now. And you saw that appreciation happen. Whether or not that's a move that's going to stick, even beyond today, I have no idea. I have no idea, right? So you do see a lot of these long wicks every time price got above, call it 0.64289. You see these long wicks where the bulls are not able to hold it. Whether or not we get above there this time and stay up there, it's a possibility. But right now, it's too soon, in my opinion, to look or take an entry. And although that, yeah, this pair was up as high as one percentage point yesterday and is now up probably about 0.8%. And we all missed this, but this wasn't a tradable event, right? We're not looking to, high impact news events like that. You just want to stay on the side, right? Because that's a binary event. You either win or you lose, right? If the bank cut, maybe the initial reaction was to see further depreciation. And then when people found out, well, that's our last cut for a little while, price will come up a little bit. But when the cut didn't happen yesterday, price immediately moved. It's not a tradable event. Is it possible to go ahead and get long this pair now? Yeah, but we on the 8 hour here, we have the trend trains to the upside. Am I going to chase price right now? I'm not. I would wait and see what happens over the next 8, 16, 24 hours. Does price pull back a little bit? And then does price take us back into the trade by resuming towards this uptrend? And that's my safe entry. You will always find, or most of the time find, over here, you're going to see if you took the zero line cross, that this provided a really solid and better entry. The first pullback didn't happen to all the way over here, and it didn't work out, right? That's the first example we looked at today where the zero line cross provided a better entry than the first pullback, but it happens, right? So that's my opinion. I don't think you're late. I think you're on time. I think you get to watch it now, and I think you get to wait to see if the market's going to give you the entry that you want and the one that you're looking for. You have to plan that out. But Ken, I do have to say that it seems to me that the better entry that you want to look for would be a short here if it develops on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, on Australian dollar, US dollar, or on gold. I don't see right now that the New Zealand dollar, Japan, US dollar is offering us the best opportunity. And it could be, we could get actually for the rest of the day, we could get actually a weaker US dollar. And if that happens, there's no question the New Zealand dollar will be leading the charge against it, right? It will be the strongest pair against it. That's just my thoughts on it. So I appreciate all of you being here for this session today, for definitely all of the insight offered. And I really appreciate all of you. I hope you go on and to have a wonderful day. I look forward to catching up with you all again tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. I will talk to you later.